Hello and welcome back to Beckler Guitars and Repair, and today we're checking out an increasingly expensive and getting harder to find Gibson Firebird. This is a 2016 Firebird 5T. So let's talk about why that is. So Gibson is not currently making this model. They're not making any Firebirds at all, actually. And they kind of quietly discontinued this in 2020, 2021, that kind of era. So you can still see these listed on the website, but they're never in stock. And if you check any stores, there's no new ones available anywhere. Like, I'm talking Guitar Center, Sweetwater, anywhere. So what's happened now is the prices on these things have shot up like crazy. The used ones are selling for more than the new ones are listed by quite a large margin. So there's a whole bunch of speculation as to why Gibson isn't making these Firebirds anymore. And what a lot of people think is, so these are very labor intensive to make. So basically how a Firebird is made is the neck is one piece all the way through the body. So there's actually 9 pieces of wood that makes up the neck, and that is also the body. So if you took a Firebird apart, so these two parts on the side here, these lower portions, these are wings that are glued on to this main portion, which is the body and the neck as one piece. So if you took off the wings, you just have this very strange, long, rectangular guitar that is all one piece of wood together. So this is called the neck through design. The benefits of this is that everything's connected to one piece of wood, and it's supposed to be very resonant. And yeah, that's why people buy Firebirds. Firebirds have never been the most popular model from Gibson, but they do have like a niche kind of a cult following, and I personally think they're very, very cool. And the other thing is, with these 2016, 2017 Firebird 5T models, these ones actually came with the Steinberger tuners. So these are pretty sought after tuners, just because they are the best iteration of, of a vintage correct Firebird in terms of tuners. They used to have the really big, bulky banjo tuners that didn't really work very well, and they just added a bunch of weight to the headstock, and they just weren't optimal. These Steinbergers are nice and light, they work great, and they keep tuned very well. And they haven't offered this since this year, which is the 2016-2017 Firebird 5T model. So yeah, this model in particular is going up in price quite a lot, just because they don't make the Firebirds anymore, and this one has the Steinberger tuners. So pretty cool. I picked this one up. I actually had to drive a 7-hour round trip. I did this last night just to find this, because it was posted for a crazy price, and I've been looking for a Firebird since I sold my last one, and I don't think I'm going to be able to get another one without paying an insane price. So this one's going to stay in my collection. I've always kind of wanted a Pelham Blue Firebird, but those are very, very hard to find. So I'm going to keep this one, and hopefully I can get my hands on a Pelham Blue one day. But for now, yeah, I'm going to keep this one in my collection because I really do like the Firebirds. But anyway, so yeah, this one came in very nice condition. It's got a few minor dings here and there, and the body, if you catch it in the light, there's like finish checking throughout. It kind of looks like a vintage guitar that way, even though it's not that old. So I'm not sure if this checking was like manufactured, or if it was left out in the cold or something like that. But I do appreciate checking. As long as it's not like flaking off, I really do like the way it looks. A couple dings here and there, a couple replaced parts. These knobs have been replaced to look like a more vintage correct Firebird, like the older models, like the 63. And he has actually replaced these pickups with, so these are Mr. Fabulous, which is a boutique pickup builder out of Australia. These are called the Mr. Fabulous Mini Buckers. So these ones are designed to be a lot like a vintage Firebird 63 pickups. They're actually Alnico 5 magnets instead of the ceramic. The current offerings by Gibson are ceramic pickups for the Firebird pickups, like these mini buckers. And I'm really curious to see how they sound. So this is quite a nice upgrade. They've got kind of a nickel, a vintage nickel covering on there, and that looks pretty cool. And yeah, Firebirds have a bound neck, so you've got your binding nibs, rosewood fingerboard, and the 9-piece neck / body, which is mahogany and walnut, and then the mahogany wings on the side here. And just very cool guitars, and I'm pretty happy to have one again. Let's have a quick look at the back. So here's your control cavity here. A couple more slight small dings on here. So I like to seal anything that goes to the wood on my guitars. I just use a couple drops of lacquer just to seal that, just to prevent any moisture from getting into the wood. And I haven't decided yet whether if I'm going to color match those. It's on the burst here, so it's pretty easy to fix. You can just use some India ink or some black lacquer just to color match that, and then just drop fill it to seal it. So it's a pretty easy fix for dings along the black like that. And then here's just another look at our Steinberger tuners. You can see from the serial number it's a 2016, and our stamp there, made in USA 2016. This guitar came with 11s, which is way too thick for me. I want to make sure I set this up and change that to 9s, just for my personal taste. And the case these come with are just huge. So they're super thick to account for those tuners on the back, to make room for those. And this is a huge plush case. Like, I can't imagine how much these cases cost to make, because they're just large and plush and made in Canada. The very nice high quality case. And yeah, it comes with the original user's manual, some of the original knobs. He said some of these have been replaced even. And this is the cover that came over top of the fretboard, brand new. So these are pretty cool. This would protect the fretboard during shipping from the strings, like making any pitting on the frets or something like that. So another reason why these are going up in price, and may still continue to go up in price, is there are rumors and leaks that for the 2024 lineup, Gibson is going to announce that they're no longer going to be making these Firebirds in Gibson USA iterations. They're going to only be available through the custom shop. So yeah, if you can find one of these for a decent price, I would say go ahead and jump on it, because the future is kind of unknown on these. There are some rumors that the only way you're going to be able to get a Firebird now is through the custom shop, and of course those are going to be very, very expensive. So yeah, just maybe if you can find one for a decent price, I would say go ahead and jump on that. And yeah, alright, so pretty excited to get this thing up and running to my standards. I'm going to go ahead and get some specs now. So yeah, I'm always surprised in the weight of these guitars, because they're huge, well, they feel huge, but then again, they're not that heavy. My Les Paul, for example, weighs over 9 pounds, and this one is 7 pounds, 13.2 ounces, so this is actually really quite light. Alright, so just a little bit more on these pickups. These are the Mr. Fabulous Firebird Mini Humbuckers. They're handmade in Melbourne, Australia. Their design is based on the original 1963 Firebird pickups, using the Alnico 5 blades and a specially designed magnetic circuit to achieve the classic Firebird tone. He says he's beefed them up a little bit, but they still retain the character of the classic Firebird pup. So yeah, let's see how these are reading. In the bridge position, it's reading a 10.52, and in the neck position, an 8.83, and In the middle position, it's a 4.80. So these are the Alnico 5 magnets instead of the ceramic, which usually comes with the Firebird mini buckers in today's offerings from Gibson. So yeah, I'm excited to hear how these sound. So width of the nut is a 1.69, and at the 12th fret, it's a 2.08. First fret neck depth is a 0.81, and at the 12th fret, a 0.845. So the neck stays pretty uniform in thickness throughout. Here's a look at the neck profile. So yeah, it's a pretty standard C. It flattens a little bit by the 12th fret. And yeah, it definitely feels like a slim taper C neck. So just a quick reminder of how these Steinberger tuners work. So this top part is only used to lock in the string. So the bottom part, the wheel or the knob, you push the tuner all the way up to change a string, and then you unlock it and then just pull it through. And that's it. And then to do the opposite, all you do is feed the string through, lock it with this part at the top, not too tight, just enough that it's, you know, nice and firm. And then you recess the knob, and that also tightens the string. So that's also how you tune it and how you restring it. All right, let's have a look at our hand-wound boutique Mr. Fabulous, made in Australia, Firebird mini bucker Alnico 5 pickups. Let's have a look. Cool. Okay, so yeah, it looks like they are scratched on there, or maybe even engraved. No, it looks like a scratching. So yeah, it says Firebird Bridge with a date 2018, October 5th, and his fabulous signature there. So that's kind of cool. And yeah, that looks neat. It looks like it's just got a big piece of foam here, so that kind of gives the pickup some tension that you can adjust up and down, as well as the springs on the side there. And the neck doesn't have foam, and it just says Firebird neck, October 5th, 2018, and his signature there as well. Let's have a look at the routes. Yep, we can see there is our route. VS stands for Vintage Sunburst, I would assume. And yeah, nice clean route there. Route looks nice and clean. A little bit of buffing compound in there. And it looks like they had to screw some new holes for the new pickup covers. But other than that, yeah, it looks good. Here's a look at our bridge, which is just a standard style bridge from the era. And looks like we've got the ABR1 style bridge post, the skinnier ones. And here's a look at the tailpiece. It's full weight, and it's advanced plating incorporated, which is factory era correct. And under our Firebird pickguard, it looks like someone has replaced the knob here with a kind of a gold one, but the parts are still original. You can see that there's a route here just for this switch and a couple wires, which seems kind of silly. Seems like they could achieve the same thing with just one route here and then just a couple screw holes from a long drill bit, but yeah, it works. So that's cool. That's kind of how it's done. And let's take a look at the back cavity. Okay, so we've got some interesting things going on in the wiring cavity here. So it looks like it's all original parts, so the original pots and orange drop capacitors, but it also looks like there has been some things added here. So we've got additional orange capacitors with like treble bleeds on the volume, as well as, yeah, I think these are just treble bleeds for the volume. and a couple other things going on here. So it looks like it's retained the original wiring, but also been added a little bit once they swap those pickups. So it'd be interesting to hear how this thing sounds for sure. So Firebirds have a pretty interesting headstock. It's kind of that really cool shape. You got some nice straight string pull too, so a lot of Firebirds are pretty well known for keeping tune very well. You can see that this is part of our whole neck construction. So this is, yeah, again, 7 or 9 pieces of wood glued together that run through the whole neck and body. And we have this raised piece of wood here that's just kind of an accent for the headstock. And then we've got our truss cover here, which is this long single ply Gibson branded piece of plastic. And there we have a look at our truss rod. So this is in good condition, no threads are showing, so there's lots of adjustment availability for this neck. And our fingerboard is looking quite nice. There's no visible fret wear, just kind of some dark marks where the strings have been pressed, but no noticeable divots or pitting. And yeah, and it's just a nice dark piece of rosewood, and we've got our trapezoid perloid inlays, and then yeah, the neck just continues on through the body. So this is a through neck design, it's called. I'm just gonna go ahead and buff the frets quickly, because that's just, I really like nice shiny polished frets, and I'm gonna clean and condition the fretboard. Alright, and here's the frets after a quick buffing. So now they're super shiny and highly polished. Should make bending very nice and easy. Let's go ahead and restring it and see what kind of setup we can get on here. Alright, I managed to get quite a nice setup on this guitar. You can see that there's just a tiny bit of space between the notched fret edge, or the notched straight edge, and the fretboard. So that means the truss rod is set pretty straight. And then here we are at the 3rd fret. So when I fret the 3rd fret, you can see that the string's just resting nicely against that 1st fret. So that means that the nut is cut well, and the action is set, or the truss rod is set nice and straight. There's actually a little bit of room on this E string, so if I wanted, I could file that down a little bit further, because there's just a tiny bit of a gap there. But it's comfortable enough that I'm just going to leave it. I also found out that this nut definitely has been replaced, so this is a bone nut on here now. And yeah, it was replaced so well it was kind of hard to spot. So yeah, that's definitely an upgrade. And then here on the 12th fret, so it's about a 1.25 on the low E, and just a little hair lower than 1 on the high E. So I was able to get a little bit lower than usual action on this, which is nice. Alright, I'm just going to run through the frets to show there's no buzz. Again, I'm going to speed this up, but if you want to play back the YouTube player at 0.25 speed, you can hear it in real time. So yeah, even with that super low action, there's no fretting out or major buzz anywhere along the fretboard. Alright, let's go ahead and plug it in and hear how these boutique pickups sound. Alright, here I am plugged into the One True King rig. Alright, that's enough. Alright, so the guy I bought this off of explained to me that this is kind of wired up in an interesting way. So basically, in the middle position, usually you get both of the pickups. But in the middle position, if you roll down the volume on one of the pickups, it gives you a darker sound of that pickup than rather if you were just in the bridge or the neck position. So I'm going to show you what I mean there. Now I'm in the bridge position, And here's how it sounds. But then in the middle position with the neck volume rolled off, so I'm just using the bridge pickup, this is how it sounds. And I'll swap between them so you can hear the difference. So yeah, in the middle position, even though the only volume that's on is the bridge pickup, it's definitely a lot darker. So it's essentially like another set of pickups, which is cool. Just gives you a little bit more versatility. So I'm going to be doing that a little bit while I do the demo. I'm just going to be doing each position clean and then dirty and then just having a little bit of fun with it. So yeah, these pickups sound great. They're super clear and articulate and very like vintage sounding. They have great tone. One thing is in the bridge position, I can find it's a little bit bright, but I can easily get rid of that by rolling down the tone just a little bit and then it's fine. Or even if using the middle position, if I turn off the neck pickup and just use the bridge in that middle position, it darkens it up a little bit too. So yeah, lots of usable tones in there. It sounds really good. I'm just going to go ahead and use a little bit of overdrive. with some overdrive. Definitely a lot of usable tones. You can get some screaming lead tones in the bridge position, but you can dial that down in the middle position by turning off the neck volume. You get a much more standard sounding, like a Les Paul humbucker. And then the same is true on the neck pickup. You can get it pretty harsh sounding on the neck side, but still like very usable. And then if you roll down the bridge volume in the middle position, you can get a really nice humbucker style. So yeah, this thing is pretty versatile. And you know, if you're playing with a different guitar on stage, like let's say you're playing with humbuckers and you want to cut through a little bit, you could do the normal pickup modes, like in the bridge and the neck. Or if you're playing with a single coil guy who's a little bit, you know, harsher sounding, and you want to get lower in the mix, you can go into the middle mode and just roll down the volume in either pickup to get that more of a humbucker. So yeah, pretty cool. And the tones on it are really nice, really nicely voiced pickups, very vintage sounding. Sounds great. Alright, so what are my final thoughts on this 2016 Firebird 5T with the upgraded pickups on here? The Mr. Fabulous mini buckers. Well, you can pry it from my cold dead hands because I'm keeping this one. And I always regretted selling that last one I had because I just really like the way a Firebird looks and feels. And this one is lighter, it plays better, and it sounds better because of the pickups. And yeah, it's just a great guitar. Plays just the way I like it, super low, no buzzing or fretting out anywhere, and the pickups are very versatile and they sound great, and it's just in really nice shape. I really like the neck, feels really fast. It's the slim taper neck, and the tuners work great, stays in tune well. It's got that nice straight string pull, and this is one of the years, or the last year of the Steinbergers, like the 2016, 2017. And these are great tuners, and they haven't come back yet, but yeah, they're awesome. So yeah, the neck through design is awesome too. You can really feel the neck like vibrating in your hand, which is always the sign of a good guitar. It's nice and resonant, you get lots of sustain. And yeah, Firebirds I always find very comfortable to play, like in my lap. They just kind of fit where they should for me. And this one's nice and light, under 7 pounds. Yeah, there's not a lot of bad things to say about it. It's a great guitar. So yeah, Firebirds are going to be probably really hard to find in the near future, especially if the rumors from Gibson are true. So if you have one, hold on to it. And if you don't, and you find one for a decent price, so it's not ridiculous, grab it. Because I think these are going to be going up in price and a little bit harder to find very soon. Maybe. Alright, thanks for tuning in to Beckler Guitars and Repair, and I'll have more for you really soon. Thanks a lot.